Megan, in some respects, people are saying, look, we may have actually peaked in inflation expectations
my name's Jason
in
with Not
particular,
Baker
and maybe an overall inflation. How do you position for that?
Nevada, exploring small
Yeah, I think that's a good point. While we may have peaked certainly in terms of some of these core year-over-year readings, the question is really going to be when will the Fed ultimately pivot and sound more dovish on the second part of their mandate,
Who is this now coming down the ladder?
We think that they've already begun to show signs that they're considering this from their recent commentary over the past couple of weeks or so.
We made it, Jeff. We're down. Well, not all the way.
But they're going to be watching how the unemployment picture is evolving as they deliver these hikes. And we think that where inflation ultimately settles when they pause is a really important thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and it's a really interesting mix, isn't it? The fact we have this really high inflation.
This is the kind of this is the thing, the special thing you get privy to while you're there.
Of the economy, Megan. I mean, if we're waiting for inflation, if we're waiting for unemployment to turn, we might be waiting quite a long time. Does that give the Fed scope to hike for quite a duration?
I know the float would have done wonders, huh?
You're going, especially coming up. But September is going to be an important part here. We think that we may be at the bottom in the jobless claims numbers, which is something that they're going to have their eye on. And over the past 2 weeks, we've definitely seen the market refocus a bit here on those downside.
What do we got here? We got Max and Max.
Which gives us some, guidance to be able to say here that with the market pricing, it seems pretty consistent with what the Fed has in mind, peaking perhaps at around 3.5%.
Your money,
that's doing its job in tightening financial conditions.
Has the bond market accurately reflected the possibility of this pause?
Oh, I'm sure people have been down here. As soon as I make a video, everybody knows. That's not necessarily our base case here. But we think that there could be slowing from the 50 basis point increments that they've been delivering to something more like 25 basis points. And again, consider the effects that they're already having on financial conditions. And it's very actively monitoring what we're going to see in the labor market. Again, on the back of some of these pressures that we've seen already
I'll come run one for you.
Then
Max will run the stoper. I hate
give us a bit more, Megan, on where you think
wait a minute. What am I going to say?
The 10-year Treasury, for example, at the end of this year. Just listening to a clip of the conversation, we were speaking
we knew black hats, yellow hats, and of course white hats.
Painting a picture of something that's quite complex, dependent very much on where the Fed goes. You could get to two very different end-of-year yields on 10-year Treasuries. Let's listen.
Red
if they hike with their eyes closed.
Stuff.
And they carry on doing it into next year.
Then the
that is where the high grade gold is running.
Take into account,
and these are running extremely real.
Where is it? This guy.
So we'll see if we can find some samples today. Pack them out. We'll see if I can ship it back to myself in Washington. And,
so Megan, Stephen, just getting to the point there that depending on what you think the Fed is going to, how you think the Fed is going to treat fears of slowdown in the global economy, in the US economy, you can get to very different conclusions to the end of the year as to where the 10-year yield is, anything between 4 and less than 1%. Where would you sit on that spectrum?
So this is a 10-year career right here, and it's work really. I mean, when you think about, he had some days.
And this is because the market is already showing some signs of stress here. What's the first thing that investors do when they're worried about the economy? Well, they buy and that's treasuries. So we think that we're probably going to see a continued decline in back-end treasury rates, particularly the very long end of the curve, 30-year.
I mean, if it was easy as tipping the bit top of the mountain tells me, right?
Pressures and uncertainty.
And you could just get right to go get dirt, put it in there, separate gold, and she's good to go.
So I'm increasing the exposure of these hematite plackets.
We could just stay here. We just stay in the
I believe this is where you were getting all that placket gold from.
Right.
So I figured if I can open this section up,
Jason.
and I know there's fine gold in here, so what I've done is created a dam, so it's just going to pile up right here.
Okay.
And then we can take it all out, room it out. But what I want to do is
let me start with something that Abigail was mentioning a couple of times there. We're asking our question of the day whether we've seen peak inflation or whether it's just pausing. I know you're a bit skeptical as to whether we've seen peak inflation. Tell us why.
Eventually, it'll get to a point where there's not enough room to get this in there.
Just about energy. I mean, at this point, I remember, early April, we were looking at gasoline going down to about $4 a gallon.
It looked like that 8.5% number we had in the CPI was going to be sort of now we've obviously seen, record nominal gas prices. Gasoline in the next CPI report looks like it's going to be up almost 8 percentage points. So the headline is currently sitting at 8.3, but it looks like it's going to pop back up to 8.4. And honestly, 8.5 is not out of the question given what's been going on with airfares and hotel rates and so on. So, I think there's a chance we might challenge that peak in May. I would expect beyond that, though, that we should hopefully start to make it back down. But I think, energy, honestly, it's a day-to-day thing right now. Given the
zero carbon,
it just kind of remains a huge wild card in terms of the forecast.
Oh, fair enough. So peakish.
I get that some of this is the overhead on the game. It's like you're really concerned about us and talking about their own labor amongst the big thing, but it's our as much as you love to admit it, not to admit it, somewhere down there there's a time-space little particle. That means AUA, X derivative F, duality of it all about the frame rates of paperwork on carbon, graphite. And then, of course, the graphite crucible, or the graphite rod you use to stir crucibles.
That's going to keep upward pressure on
and think about it.
Really nice.
I think you guys have talked a lot about inventories today and over the last several weeks, especially in retail.
Just as a friendly reminder, shaking hands of danger about.
Really encouraged me the last report was that we had a very broad-based deceleration in goods. It wasn't just about
to that one flake right there to all the processes in the pie chart still required to do dollar bills.
Months go by, we should get goods coming off quite a bit. And I think some of the service stuff should come off. I mean, airfares can only go so high, before people are start cutting back on travel plans. We're already hearing some of that in terms of, the driving season given gasoline. So I do expect, some relief coming, but I think it might be sort of a bumpy summer until we get more relief there in the fall.
Oh, now, how far through that pivot from buying stuff to buying services do you think we are when you look at the inflation picture? What does it tell you?
Meanwhile, it's like, slow down. Like, none of those things matter, Valentine. Right down here. None of those.
The first 4 months of this year, last year,
it's always fun when you're finding gold, right?
Is squarely in the transportation category. And that is mostly just airfares, but it's also things like auto insurance.
It's going and going and going.
Are going back up, as people venture back out. And that's really where the bulk of services acceleration has
I'm sorry, I don't know the rest of you.
A lot of other services so far
I know, it wouldn't be the same bad.
Services, communication services are kind of doing the same thing that they did in 2021, and frankly, really not haven't really accelerated. So that's why I say that airfares can only go so high, and once they stop accelerating, they may not come back down sharply. Once that acceleration stops, you get a lot better than
anything else other than
inflation numbers come off later this year.
Mayor, I know you mentioned earlier that energy and gasoline is really hard to call, but the overall idea is that inflationary pressure is transient. Is there a chance that it's not actually cyclical, that we're in a structural transition away from certain fuels? Refiners have shut down; they may not be coming back because of that. Is there a case to be made for that?
Look at this. It's right on the table.
Honestly, Alex, I think you know a lot more about the commodity space than I do. But I would say that I'm sort of basing it on the way that kind of the futures markets look right now in terms of energy. And it seems like at least there's some suggestion that prices should come down. We've seen gasoline kind of flatten out the last several days. So I'm not necessarily sure about a structural shift. I know the Biden administration is going to restart some refineries, trying to get more production out to help consumers. My suspicion is, though, that we should start to see the energy complex, at least in the back half of the year, at least provide a bit of a relief. But, as I said earlier, it's a huge wild card given what natural gas prices are doing. The flow-through to electric going to impact people's rates. So energy is still a big wild card, as are food prices. There's really no relief on food prices, in the very near term, given what we're seeing in a lot of areas.
Okay, so no relief on food prices.
It matters. All it matters.
And then what happens to wages in this context, or what are you assuming will be the contribution from higher wages into inflation calculations? Are we seeing? It kind of surprised me what you said about services, that 90% is coming from transport, not so much from other areas. Is there still room then that we see quite a lot more wage pressure and then further inflation, secondary effects?
Yeah, I think if anything, wage pressures.
This is some fines out of our
following inflation the last 6 months certainly.
And see if we got any
real
more
terms, we have to remember wages are still.
You might be a safety officer doing the civil service duties. Let's go down there and concern in their freedom.
Are really pushing inflation higher. If anything, it might
you would be training before you take on Baker, Jason Champion,
So if anything,
losing
it's sort of
rookies like
trailing
that.
what we're seeing on the inflation front.
Look at all the gold down here.
In terms of the acceleration
all the fine gold. Look at that.
It all comes back. Real mad about stuff, and then I'm in trouble.
Oh my gosh. It's been this wave on transportation. Omicron comes around, people stop traveling, transportation falls, port services decelerate. The reverse is happening now. It's just that we're getting an additional pop right now with things like jet fuel prices.
Little bits of gold all through there.
We haven't really seen a lot of other port services.
That's dirt off the floor.
This is the kind of thing that the Fed fears the most. It's a gold mine. Got to be a safety standard down there somewhere. It's at least about the stickman Vitruvian physics about, well, I've seen a mine before, that looks like a dangerous mine shaft. Do something. There are themes in there about footage and math, and that was done, otherwise you dead, right? Because they're going to shut you down, somebody will bet you fit about something, little piggies over to McDonald's, and yeah, right, and my breakfast sandwich going up in price.
On the Core PC,
right?
We know they're on pilot the next couple of meetings. By the time that September meeting rolls around, we will have had, the May, June, July Core PC data. We will have had 4 months of CPI.
Talk about this.
I think there's plenty of inflation data coming for them to sort of digest before they really.
Some cowboy like this start rolling into town about in trouble.
Definitely be worse.